Chinese regulators are slowly working their way through the backlog of game approval applications that piled up during the approval freeze that spanned most of 2018. For the first time in the month since the process started up again, the Chinese game giants Tencent and NetEase have had a handful of titles approved for release and monetization. Those approvals are good news for Tencent and those banking on the company to see their own titles eventually released in China. But, as noted by Nikkei, neither of Tencent's approved games are notably heavy hitters. More specifically, neither game is PUBG Mobile, a mobile title that launched midway through 2018 and has yet to be approved for monetization in China, thanks to last year's freeze. Tencent's two approvals include a game about making Chinese fans and a game about traditional wood carving, while NetEase's first approval is a Chinese history-inspired RPG called War Spring and Autumn. At this point, a little over 350 games have been seeing approval from Chinese regulators since the process reopened earlier this month. After a 9-month-long halt, the State Administration of Press and Publications, the government branch now tasked with overseeing that process, says it plans to work through games in the order the original applications were filed during last year's freeze. The South China Morning Press also reports that analysts expect to see the process speed up considerably after the Lunar New Year, which takes place on February 5th, and the National People's Congress in March. Whether you are just starting out, looking for something new, or just seeing what's out there, the Gamasutra Job board is the place where game developers move ahead in their careers. Gamasutra's job board is the most diverse, most active, and most established board of its kind in the video game industry, serving companies of all sizes, from indie to AAA. Here are just some of the many positions being advertised right now. If you are a recruiter looking for talent, you can also post jobs here. Location: San Francisco, California. Ubiquity6 is looking for a developer with experience rapidly building games and other complex experiences in Unity, Unreal or JavaScript to join its studio in San Francisco. This role tasks a developer with determining engine feature needs, documenting and recording gameplay footage and feature specifications, and working with other members of the team to rapidly prototype and refine augmented reality features and prototypes. 3D experience is strongly preferred. Location: New York. New York. The lead artist will have a balance of artistic talent, technical knowledge, and leadership skills. This role is critical to the success of the division by leading key projects for the studio. Responsibilities include directing and participating in the production of all visual material, both environments and characters, being accountable for the visual quality delivered, while staying within technical limits, managing the project artistic team, which will be a mix of internal, remote and outsourcing, and working in partnership with the producer, technical lab and creative lead to hit the project objectives. Location: Marina Del Rey, California. Skydance Interactive is looking for a gameplay engineer to join our studio. In this position, you will be responsible for maintaining and extending major game subsystems, creating and optimizing gameplay elements, and working with the design team to implement ideas while providing technical and creative feedback. At Skydance Interactive, we believe that a small, focused, and dedicated team of talented people can create exceptional games. Location: Austin, Texas. We are looking for awesome graphics engineers with strong technical art skills who are excited about empowering mainstream consumers with the ability to create 3D graphics and animation. You will be working with exceptionally talented engineers and artists from top companies and universities such as Google, Nvidia, Blizzard, Stanford, MIT, and Yale. Not only will you have the unique opportunity to work on challenging technical problems, but also use your artistic instincts to develop visually stunning features for our tour muses worldwide. Metroidvania, what image did that world create in your mind? Super Metroid, Castlevania, Symphony of the Night are a newer title from an independent developer, like Chasm or Axiom Verge. 1986, X-Metroid, and its SNES sequel, in particular, are touchstone titles in what has now unquestionably become its own genre. The first in the series introduced many console gamers to the idea of a large, explorable 2D platforming world. In 1994, Super Metroid refined that gameplay immensely, while adding depth storytelling. 3 years after that, Symphony of the Night expanded this formula in all directions, adding both complexity and depth at every turn. First off, I did not like the state of action games at the time, says Koji, Igarashi, when asked where 1997 as Symphony of the Night came from. Titles divided into discrete stages were tending to get more and more difficult, leading to a situation where good players quickly finished them and beginners were no longer getting their money's worth. There was also the fact that the people on our team, including myself, really liked The Legend of Zelda, so we wanted to create a game in that style. In retrospect, it's little surprise that this game launched a genre. It was a clear attempt to break away and create a holistically enjoyable game for a wide audience. The result worked too well to remain unique. Castlevania, Symphony of the Night. Though retro game fans can point out any number of similar titles, Igarashi and his team arrived at a functional, repeatable design, and Symphony of the Night came quickly enough on the heels of the acclaimed Super Metroid that it could become entrenched as a formula. I think it was not until Symphony of the Night and its sequels melded, Super Metroid and Castlevania, that the classification narrowed to mean something like side-scrolling action adventures with obstacles in a continuous map that you can surmount only after finding the requisite items and backtracking, says Tom Happ, whose upcoming Axiom Verge is one of the most promising new titles in the genre. The next turning point for the Metroidvania was the seminal 2000 and indie title Cave Story, created by Daisuke Pixel Amaya all on his own. It was not just a highly creative evolution of the genre. Amaya's ethos of building the game by himself made it a title that is inextricably linked with the rise of the indie movement, and the game's art and design have proved as influential as Amaya's DIY production style. Cave Story, 2009, as Shadow Complex, developed by Cheer Entertainment for Microsoft, is also worth mentioning. Its massive commercial success as the console market for independently developed games began to take off showed that the genre had a viable future. That's not the only reason it's notable. One moment that always stood out to me was when Donald Mustard said, to you, no less, that Super Metroid was the pinnacle of 2D game design. I kind of feel that was the first moment somebody really tried intentionally to make a Metroidvania, rather than just an action-adventure with aspects of Super Metroid, a Symphony of the Night. Happ says, referencing my 2009 interview with the Shadow Complex Creative Lab. Now that it's an entrenched genre, developers are trying to capture the essence of the Metroidvania and to extend it further. I spoke to a number of them to find out why and how they are doing it. My first stop was to ask these developers what makes the genre so enduring. Why does it fascinate today's independent teams? After all, it's been a niche for years and years. It's only recently, post-indie boom, that the number of games exploded. The concept is universal.